Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Sunday, November 26th, 2023. I'm going to make a quick update as I left off on Friday, where I presented the big picture, the technical update. I updated a count. I showed what I am now going to use as a more of a preferred count in both the S&P and in the NASDAQ. So starting here with the S&P, and I'm still considering that we had finished an X wave, and that would have been at the end of October. That was October the 27th low. So we are putting in on an intermediate degree an additional ABC. And so thus far within this, I'm leaving it, is so far we have an A and a B, and we're likely in a C wave moving up. Now, whether this is going to be a minor degree, finishing an intermediate wave A up here, and then we get a wave B, and then another rally in a wave C, yet to be determined. So that is out there. That is a possibility. Or the alternate, just within this internal count, these could be intermediate wave A, intermediate wave B. We're in intermediate C wave. Now, originally, I still do feel that the market will move into, once we start getting underway in December, into a what they call Christmas rally, end of year rally. It does seem to fall in line along with the fact that we've seen that Zweig breadth indicator, that thrust indicator, be triggered twice in 2023, and both with very strong advanced decline. So again, we're going to try to balance this all out and really kind of keep it on a smaller time frame. So as I do my daily updates, I will take a quick look or quick review of the count as I have it on that big picture. But I want to kind of focus on an hourly chart. So I may make reference up to the 4-hour and then go down from there, but I'm going to stick basically to an hourly chart. And within it, we can see that we ended last week basically just kind of on Friday, which was only a half a day, again, Thursday being a holiday. Market really didn't do a whole lot, just kind of fluctuated to the up into a sideways motion. And I'm going to break this down real quick, look at it on a 30-minute chart. Still, basically, A, B, C, and then sideways. So it's still not very clear as to the market's intent here, but I do believe that it is corrective. And on that basis, I'm going to go back out to the hourly chart. I think we're still in a wave 4. So I think we did an ABC for A wave. We did a B wave, which kind of brings us all the way out. And now we're basically starting to work a C wave down. So some basic fibs now, again, S&P, so some basic fibs for a fourth wave. If we're at this third wave, powerful, long, and pretty strong. We started at 44.08 low, and that would have been on the 13th of November. And then we reached the high at 45.80, which was on the 22nd of November. So really, since then, we're still working on a fourth wave. Now, where do our fibs come in? Well, we still are kind of wrapping ourselves around the 20, the 50, and they're up here higher. We have the 50 at 45.68. So we've kind of slid through that. And it's a little bit, very, very slight, a little bit of an extra little push there. So we may have to wait again for the Asian markets to open and the European markets to open, deal with whatever's dealing, and then kind of start off tomorrow. Now, I would suspect that we likely are going to see some continued downside as wave 4 kind of unfolds. Now, wave 4 of one lesser degree is right here. So, and that's the 0.236 fib support line for this larger third wave. So be looking for a wave 4. Our first line in the sand or defense will come in about the 45.39 level, which does match up with the fourth wave of one lesser degree. So that remains a very strong or candidate to put in this small 4, and then we get that fifth wave. So bottom line also would be is that I am continuing to look for a fifth wave up to complete at least the 5 waves and the C wave. As to what degree, yet to be determined, but I would still look for a rally up to that window that we have from 46.30 to 46.40. That's basically been a window that we've held on to for quite some time. And it actually, in terms of the C wave itself, C would equal A at 46.39.75 or 46.40. So that holds out pretty strongly. We have additional, if we get a strong push tomorrow or during next week, we could end up at 1.618. So again, C, the first one is equality. That is, brings us to 46.40. Second, 1.618. That brings us to 48.16. Again, we're trying to measure out the fifth wave to complete. And so we still needed that fourth. Once I have that fourth wave in, then I can run the fib process for that. And again, we've been looking for wave 5, most common, is equal to wave 1. So once we get a fourth wave in, we can start to map it out and see where they come in. Again, we have support coming off 45.68, which has been taken out, and then moving down. This is all just price support right now, 45.50 to 45.45. And then we drop down to that previous fourth wave, the low, which is at 45.37. We have that other additional first fib level, the 0.236, at 45.39. So all of that falls into place. I'm not looking for too much pressure, but if it were to continue, we have the hourly 200 simple moving average at 45.34, additional fib 0.382 at 45.14, 44.93.94, which is the 50%. And again, being a fourth wave, I would not be looking for too much more than that. What it cannot do, it cannot invade or violate the high of wave 1. So it cannot exceed the starting or the end point for that wave 1, and that's at 45.33. So break there pretty much kind of lines this up that, okay, that could be done. And we I would put a C wave there, but keep it in the minor degree. If we manage to get up here, then we have possibilities where this could shift up to a intermediate degree and complete that whole series. And then we're looking for a much stronger turn lower. Right now, I'm looking for a day that we come low and then we pick up the rally again, and that can happen overnight. Over in the NASDAQ as well, continuing to just move through a corrective phase, and very much the same. And again, I'm putting the third wave here. I do not believe this was everything. So I think that we had an A, a B, a little bit of an irregular, but when we take it out and put it on a close basis, which is the line chart, no problem, did not exceed. So it was an anomaly, so to speak, or just a quick pop and back down. And so it continues to look like it's an A, a B, and we're going to work our way lower on a C wave. Again, here is in the NASDAQ as well. We have now kind of exceeded that 50, which continues to kind of roll its way higher, but now is beginning to go flat. The 4, the 8 and the 20, or the 8 and the 20, are beginning to turn lower, as with the market. And next up, in terms of moving average support, is here at the 200 simple moving average, which is 15,939. We'll be looking for some support there. Previous fourth wave is going to come right into here, which kind of drops it down to 15,820, 1820, all in that area. And we have 0.236 at 15,690. So it could be a more severe drop if it were to get that deep, and that would just be 0.236. So the NASDAQ has created the most noise to the upside in terms of like really beating its drum and going, and reaching some pretty high levels. And now we're going to be looking for this to just kind of get itself through and work through this corrective phase. If I had to, I could go, I want to go and actually just put in, for the sake of an additional fib level, down to that low and then back up to this high. So you got 100%. It's got to come below this level. That's 1.618, 15,840. This is just intraday support now for a possible C wave down. So a little break there shoves it down to here. And then we have additional back down to that 236, 15,690, 15,635. I really don't suspect that we could get that deep, but it could. So technically, the potential does exist. But here as well in the NASDAQ, I'm looking for a turn. I'm looking for it to create and move higher and likely break above. So in the NASDAQ, my count is that we are in a minor fifth wave up, and within that, the minute fifth wave. So I am looking for the completion point. And again, rolling out, it does, again, we're looking at the completion point for that primary B wave. Also, that would be the case in the S&P, right? If we look at the S&P, we have the X wave, so it's doing an additional ABC. So I'm pretty satisfied with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, completing the intermediate wave C. So it's intermediate C of the primary B, but then we came down in an X. We're going to do a secondary ABC. Very strong chance that we will break 46.84 and complete this. It does not necessarily have to, but that's kind of what my expectations do drive myself into that point where it could. So the S&P, yes, we're looking for it to finish this up in an ABC. 46.84 gets exceeded. It starts to put the cap on that whole thing. And again, the completion point for that primary B wave. And also, as I think I discussed on the post that I put up on Friday, on the larger picture, I do feel that the markets will move in tandem in terms of reaching their highs, maybe a little slight nuance to what actually is finishing there in terms of a minor fifth wave, or is it a double ABC? And so, but in terms of the larger primary B wave. So, but we're looking for the primary B wave to be completed in both. That's my underlying point. So back to the NASDAQ. I'm looking for that. And so therefore, I would expect that it's going to break that 16,251. Haven't done it quite yet. We keep getting close. Like this high, 16,173. That's as close as we've gotten. But it was kind of like a quick up, and then they shoved it back lower again. So I would be looking for almost the same thing, to be honest with you, where we go back up, we break above. Let me see if I can get it on this next one. I need to go out to the 4-hour on that. So I'm looking for it to break that to that level, 16,250. So that's kind of what we have going on here. Let me get there right there. Come on. 16,251. So once that's broken, then we've got a couple of levels up there, 16,327, perfect for the fifth wave. And that's where wave 5 would equal wave 1. And that's what it's all about. So again, in the NASDAQ, our moving averages continue to give some confirmation of a continued finishing move up. The 200 simple moving average sits there. And I'm hoping that whatever happens, it holds and the market then goes up and finishes, because then again, once we're done, then I'd be looking for it to come down. And as it starts to break these moving averages, we begin to kind of move with a little bit more intensity to the downside. All right, that's where I'm going to finish this up for right now. Get this posted. Our next update will be on Monday, November the 27th.